Hey guys, just wanted to welcome you to episode 6 of the Angry Advocate podcast. My name is Ed. I'm the guitar player for Death's Hand and the owner of Advocate Media.
And hi everyone, I'm Ash. I am the owner of Angry Ginger Photography. We are excited to have you back for episode 6. Today on the show we have Kristi. He is a photographer, videographer, and the guitarist of Clockout. Hello.
How's it going,
Welcome.
man? Hello. Awesome. Yeah, it's great to have you on. A lot of fun. We played, I think Death's Hand played at least one show with you guys before down in New Hampshire, which was cool. And yeah, super pumped to kind of talk to you about photography, videography, and just being in a band all together, because that's partially what I do. New to it, but partially what I do. So it's kind of cool to bounce stuff off of you and just kind of see your ideas and what you bring to the table for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. I look forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, so I think first what we'll do is we'll jump in. We've got 2 music videos. One for your band Clockout, and then another one looks like for Wisdom at War. Or Wisdom in War, excuse me. So we'll start with we'll do the Clockout one first. And we'll just take a quick listen to that and talk about it afterwards. So let me pull this up real quick here.
Don't fuck with me, Al. Don't make a fuck out of me. You want to embarrass me, make a fool out of me? You didn't gamble? How will you gamble the fucking money? I'll give you the fucking money to put the fucking heat on. Did you gamble? Huh? Fucking degenerate.
Lay it all down. Your life has no reason, no rhyme. All game, all thing. There is no change. No. There is no change. Every day the choice is yours. Nowhere to put the blame. It's a lonely road. Forces all around trying to put you in a mold. But you gotta take it back. Gotta take it back and foul. And this world of gold is not anything all making something that you want it now. But that's the game they play. Gotta play the hand of foul. Ah. Your play is all you got. Next move could be your trap. It's that or lose the box.
All right, we'll stop right there for right now.
Right on.
Yeah, I know, right? Perfect. Again, it's the second time in a row. I think last podcast I stopped at a perfect time for Anthony too.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. I love all the shots and just like, I don't know, there's a lot of different like variation with each shot, and like kind of some are grainy, some are super clear, some are like, I don't know. There's just a lot of variation there. I really like how you put all that together.
Yeah. So if I could explain a couple things about this video in particular, I didn't actually shoot this one. So this was shot mainly by our buddy Onyx, who goes by Propeller Hat Productions, I believe. He's a videographer from Worcester, and we liked his cinematic style. He does a lot of like hip hop videos in general, but he said this was his first like rock music video that he ever did.
Interesting.
And there's also clips, any of the VHS clips you see, like the grainy looking ones, those were done by our buddy Will. And he and I actually collaborated on the Wisdom and War video. But yeah, this Clockout video, I didn't do any of the videography for it.
Okay, cool.
I was just there playing guitar, looking
Just being
however.
part of it.
Yeah, that's cool though. Yeah, I
know,
really
like it's different parts of like Worcester just put like throughout the video and everything, and that's everything like for you guys.
Sure. Yeah, I feel like we've always made it kind of a point to represent the city we're from and stuff. So whether it's like through video clips or just the CMHC thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's super important. I mean, I think a big thing that we try to do too is like at least If it's not like we're from all around, so we're not from like a specific city in Maine.
Mhm.
But we try to like promote things that we're a part of, you know what I mean? Or support
Absolutely.
things that we're a part of. Like our other guitar player Kyle is in a motorcycle club, so like our last music video that I shot, it's specifically like in his clubhouse kind of
Oh, yeah.
showing him and kind of a different part of his life that he lives, you know what I mean? So we kind
Yeah.
of tried to incorporate that a little bit. So it's really cool to kind of like, I don't know, put yourself out there and the things that are important to you, whether it's, your city or, supporting someone who's in
Yeah.
your band that does X, Y, or Z. I
Yeah.
just think it's really cool and important. It just, I don't know, kind of puts like a little bit more background behind the band too, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's super
It's
cool.
important,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so let's jump into the next one, which is the one that you shot. So let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll remove that and add this one. And all right, here we go. All right, that was sick.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's a really fun video too.
Mm.
Um, and they're a great band too. Like just I don't know, just
Oh,
listening to them, they're just incredible. Um,
absolutely.
really cool vibe and just I don't know, just the way they sound is just
Yeah,
definitely
it's
one of the bands I listen to locally,
yeah,
pretty heavily.
yeah, top notch.
Yeah.
No, I love the way that this is shot, the like different cuts that you have, like to the water, to everything else, like real quick and everything.
Yeah.
Was it now you said you collabed with this, was his name Will?
Yes,
Yeah.
Will.
So he was it all film? Like how was the process of like making this?
So Will shoots with authentic VHS. It's like a really old VHS camera that shoots on tape. And
Awesome.
I think that's valid. Oh, my cats are fighting.
Nice.
All right. So yeah, I think it's neat because it's a very authentic style. And oh, sorry, I'll be back.
You're fine.
You're good, no worries.
My roommate's cats got into a really big fight and I like did not know what to do with it today. So I just like opened his door and was like, hey,
Get out.
That's
It happens
Yeah,
sometimes.
my cats fight, so I gotta give them a little spray.
spray.
That's
Makes-
awesome.
But yeah,
That's-
so Will shoots authentic VHS, which I think is nice, as opposed to, kind of throwing that filter on in post, which that can be nice sometimes, depends if it's done well or not. But I prefer like minimal effects, and it's better to kind of like have that real nostalgic feel kind of sprinkled in throughout. And he gets really cool shots. So I think it's, when I edit, it's they just kind of fit right in, and it's really good to throw that extra layer of stuff on the videos instead of just being like my style. And for the past, I think we did like 3 videos for Wisdom and War, and all 3 of them have been me and Will kind of doing
Nice.
this style. So
Nice. Yeah, it's really cool. I like it. It's very, very distinct and just it's has a lot of edge to it. You know what I mean? Just feels very raw, has a lot of edge, and I don't know, it just it's
yeah.
shot and edited very well. So what did you do for like post editing like on top of like, the already pre-shot stuff?
Yeah, so the thing with me is I don't really know a bunch of like special effects or high level editing. I'm really good at like maybe color grading and just cutting stuff up to time with the music in a nice way.
Yeah.
So I think since my skills are kind of like limited with the editing, it's really important to just focus on the band and what the band has to offer. You know, it doesn't always have to be like, oh, let's focus on how cool we can make this video rather than let me just, do justice to what the band is kind of already doing. And
For
in this
sure.
case, like with Wisdom and War, I really dig how they all move. All the members dance or bang their heads in a very, distinct way, and they sync up too. So I tried to, do a lot of like zooming in and out and like following the motion of their movements to kind of just make the music hit harder as you're listening to it. And that's all Wisdom and War. It's like no special effects, it's just them. So I try to basically do justice to what they're already kind of presenting for you. And then so in the editing process, all I do is just sync up all the shots we got. I always make it a point to have the band record to the studio track and
Yeah.
kind of just like match that tempo so that the clips kind of fit right in. And yeah, all I do is just cut it up. I do like jittery cuts, no effects really. There's like I don't think you'll see effects, but the VHS stuff kind of looks like an effect even though it's
Yeah.
not. So I think that's nice, and it all comes together well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing just two different types of shooting to get that effect that you want without having to actually do it.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. And that's I'm in a very similar like a similar vein of shooting video like the one video that we shot for our last single run from it, I shot and edited the whole thing. And that's the one thing that I did is like I'm not that capable, but like I'm pretty good at like color grading and cutting stuff together. So it's like
Yeah.
I for this one I was like I specifically like chose kind of three different color sources that I wanted to work with and just shot it from that and then tried to edit it to the best of my ability, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And like you said, to
Yep.
try to like accentuate each person in the band, like when there are certain shots where you're like, "Oh wow, this is really cool." And it's
Yeah.
either you going in on like going in on like the lead singer or something and like focusing in or like, zooming in or whatever. And then like the next shot you do something where it's like either up close or you pull back or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's kind of I pretty much do the same thing. So
Yeah.
very limited, but um it's it's
Yeah.
it's it still looks great, you know what I mean? Like you said, you don't necessarily
Yeah.
have to do a whole lot.
I agree.
Yeah,
Especially there's so many genres of music, and I think like with hardcore, it depends on every band. It depends what they want to do, but I think it's fine to just kind of keep it simple sometimes, and it
yeah,
gets the job done.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I feel like something we've talked about almost every episode is every band knows like what they want like sound wise to like get their music produced by a certain person, but same thing like music
Yeah.
video and photography wise, like
Mhm.
everyone knows like Wisdom and War's sound. Like it is that like simple and everything. And that's exactly why like you have done like their music videos because it's like what you are doing like fits so well like what they're
Oh,
doing.
for
It's
sure.
they know
Yeah,
what. Yeah.
and I think a lot of that comes from, I think we're just on the same wavelength in a lot of ways. Like me and Chanel have known each other for like probably over 10 years now. And I know her old bands and stuff too. So like we've always been trying to make music within Worcester, like the Central Mass area. And just like being friends on a deeper level, I think that we kind of get what each other want without really even having to explain it to each other. So it just happens very naturally.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and especially probably with, like, just the location where you guys shot, I'm sure that had, like, a whole lot to do with kind of, how things were gonna look or whatever. It's like, you
Believe it
kind
or
of
not,
get that.
that the location was a last minute decision because the
Really
original place they had, I think they like had to cancel or something for whatever
interesting.
reason. So
Woof.
we chose, it's like Old Stone Church in Clinton, Massachusetts, I believe, and I'm pretty sure a lot of musicians have shot videos there, which I think
Yeah,
is kind of funny, to be honest.
yeah,
But there's nothing wrong with just like using the same place that other people have used, and honestly, we thought it looked cool and it worked out.
yeah. I was gonna say it
It's
definitely like
kind of
the
simple, but not much
yeah.
thought was put into that. I think it just like we got kind of lucky too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'll say, like, definitely their aesthetic on how they look in the video, and then, like, the color and,
yeah,
like, just the editing of the video, I think really showcased them and that specific area really well,
yeah, yeah,
that's yeah, it definitely looks like, if there are other music videos that have been shot there, I would say, like, I personally haven't seen them, doesn't mean there aren't, but,
yeah,
like, this one came out really well for that specific
yeah,
space.
yeah.
So,
Thank
it's
you.
really
Yeah,
cool, really cool.
appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Alright, let's pop this out of here, there we go. Yeah, now, looks like we're gonna jump into the questions. Ashley, do you wanna start or
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So first off, what was the first instrument you played and how does it affect you as a musician now?
Cool. I think that's a great question because this is obviously kind of important to me. So when I was like 14 years old, my sister used to live at this punk collective called Distant Castle in Worcester. They're still a thing. They actually throw on like these little punk shows. They're all like, they have touring artists come through or whatever, but it's nice. It's a cool vibe. And she took me there, and that's when I essentially saw my first like basement show. It was a punk show, and like the vocalist was just like screaming all over the floor, and it was like my first time seeing that kind of energy. I thought it was super cool. And
that's
then
cool.
like I think she brought me to like another show that week in like Connecticut, and the mosh pit was going pretty strong for this one, and it was my first time seeing like a mosh pit, like of that capacity. And the entire time, I was just very mesmerized by the musicians. The moshing was super cool, but I think it was like interesting how these musicians could kind of build this energy and create that kind of expression. And so I'm like, oh shit, it's like really about the music, but it's not just about the music, because then if there's no fans responding to it, then what's the point? So it is very much 50-50, but it's like the music that starts that energy. And I kept looking at the bass player in particular. And so, because you could really feel the bass. It's like such a, rumbly, like thumping kind of vocal. Uh,
Exactly.
oh yeah, little feedback. Anyway, basically, I wanted to start with bass because it looked simple, but it also felt like it had a lot of power to it. And so I basically convinced my dad, because he didn't really like, we kind of didn't grow up with tons of money and stuff. So it was a lot to convince him to like buy me something. But I pretty much explained to him, I'm like, I could be spending a lot of time like playing video games and shit, because like he would buy me video games, but I'm like, you could buy me like a guitar, and I'm very like interested in it, and I think I'll probably do this like for the rest of my life. So he got me just like a little starter Squire P bass, though, like those little starter kits, which are absolute like trash now. If you play instruments for a while, you realize like how cheap those are. But at the time, it was like, oh shit, I have an instrument I could play. And so I played bass for like 6 months, like for like 8 hours a day. I was just like, as soon as I would come home from school, I would just like spend hours just playing and practicing. And after 6 months, I think my dad like really saw how interested I was in it, so he bought me an electric guitar. So then I picked up guitar shortly after bass, and I kind of played them both equally over the years. And then eventually I went on to like I studied music at Clark University, and I studied jazz guitar and jazz bass equally. So I could like I could slap bass and play bass like an actual bass guitar. It's not just the easy guitar, you know. So I
Yeah.
play bass, and you know, guitar just kind of became my main instrument. Though I found myself able to express myself much more on a guitar.
Yeah.
But it's good to know bass too. It's, you know, all the instruments. I play a little bit of drums as well, and like it helps to kind of get musical ideas together when you can at least play some of the all the instruments, you know, like so. But yeah, that answers that.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. I
It
was gonna
brings
say, go ahead.
it brings different just influences into like the music you play, because you're able to think of just so many different realms of something and like just switching it into like a hardcore song.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say like definitely having, like you said, excuse me, the ability to play different instruments, to play like I'm a drummer, that's like my main instrument really, but I play guitar and dust-hand, and then like I can play bass, probably
Mhm.
not as well as you can for sure if you definitely studied, but like
Maybe,
I
you
can,
know.
you know, if you can play guitar, you can play bass, you know.
Yeah,
Like I played piano, you know. My mom's a singer, so like that whole thing,
yeah,
like
yeah,
if you have any realm, you know, where you have a little bit of you know, experience is nice, and definitely helps and adds to like the writing process or anything like that. So
absolutely.
that's always really good to have. Really,
Mhm.
really good to have.
True.
So, yeah, yeah. All right, next question. Let's see, number what, 2. What instruments do you offer classes for, and what is your favorite thing about teaching students?
So I offer mainly guitar lessons, but also bass, and you know, like I'd say beginner drummer and beginner piano, but that can still kind of go a long way for a lot of
Oh
students who
yeah.
are starting. So even though I'm not necessarily like the best drummer or the best piano player, I know enough music theory that we can kind of like figure things out together. And it works well because I'm also able to kind of jam with them. So like let's say I have a piano student, I'll, you know, show up with my guitar, and we get to jam together with separate instruments. As
That's
opposed to your
cool.
typical instructor, I think they're usually limited to one instrument. So then you're just kind of stuck playing the same instrument together. But it's a lot more fun when, you know, maybe I could hop on a drum kit and then they're playing guitar, you know, or vice versa. So that adds a lot, and being able to connect it all to one central kind of understanding of music as a language, which is really what music theory is. It goes a long way.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so you know, like I do all ages, and I found that most of my long-term students are younger students, but I do have some adults that have been, you know, doing it for a while, and it's a good time. I think my favorite part about it is just the fact that, you know, I already love music so much, uh, so just being able to do that and share that experience with others is already like a good time. But it's cool seeing people progress and grow, and like when they have their light bulb moments of like, oh, aha, I get it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fulfilling, and we don't spend we you know, I kind of structure my lesson as you know, we get some learning time where we really kind of dial in and learn some technical stuff, but we also have a lot of jamming time where we can kind of put these ideas to the field, and that I've noticed becomes a very therapeutic experience for my students and for me as well. It's like, you know, anytime you jam with someone, you have a good time, and I think that's another
Yeah.
important thing about music is that it brings people together in this way, in this different way, as opposed to, you know, if you just kind of play by yourself, like that's fun and all, but I think playing with others does become like cathartic and therapeutic. And not only are they learning stuff about music, but they're also, I think, getting a release from that lesson as well. So it's
Absolutely.
like, you know, it's a good time.
That's awesome. And like how many, just based off that real quick, how many like students do you have right now?
You know, I kind of like it, it, it depends because I was doing it at Guitar Center lessons for like 3 years. And when I was there, during like my peak time, I actually had like 40 students, which was
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, I was packed in, and they told me that I had, the most students in the district of all the instructors who were teaching at Guitar Center. So not just my store, but in the whole district of Guitar Centers, I was like had the most students. And I think that is because at the time I didn't have any other job. I was just like all my availability here, and then they filled me up pretty well,
Yeah.
And then I got this job offer to be a camera technician, or to actually return as a camera technician this camera gear rental company called Borrow Lenses. So once I got that job offer, I left Guitar Center. I had to leave all my students behind and focus on this new full-time job, which was really good though for my like camera, knowledge or whatever, and like photography, videography. So that helped me excel in like learning how to use, cameras and shit. So but then unfortunately that job kind of fell down after COVID. So I worked there for like another 2 years, and then I think around like 2022, uh, things were going downhill. So I made a big choice to leave that company and just do full freelance work. And so that entailed private music lessons, photography, and videography. And so once I did that, I kind of just went for it. And so far, it's been 2 years that I've been doing that. However, to answer your original question about the students, so I was doing it privately for like the past 2 years, but students, honestly dwindled out. They've been hard to find. I think it's a challenge to find students as like, without any kind of name attached to it. So I actually got rehired at Guitar Center maybe a month ago, in hopes that I'll kind of gain more students again, which I think it will, just because of the fact that so many just absolute strangers are going into the store and buying their
Yeah.
first instrument. So you're way more likely to, I think, get like an influx of new students, as opposed to like, honestly, like I tried it, but it's hard to get a stranger to book you from the internet. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, who am I? Like, but if I go through Guitar Center, I think they're way more likely to sign up and get new students. So that's where I'm at right now. But it's going good though. I have a few students. I'm hoping to get
Nice.
more. Yeah,
Nice. That's cool. That's really
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
No, I love that. Something I've just been like stuck on lately is not how miserable, but miserable the world is. And it's because like people aren't doing like what's truly fulfilling to them.
Oh yeah.
And seeing like everything that you're doing like just makes it like why like I strive to do it. And yes,
Mhm.
school photography is rewarding in itself and everything, but it's like what is needed to like then get to that point. So what you're doing is incredible.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Thanks a lot. But yeah,
Super
you're
cool.
right. We got to do what like fulfills us on a spiritual level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So next question. I've seen you do a wide variety of photos. What is your favorite subject for taking photos?
So, I think that if you look at what I post mainly, it's more shows and concerts, you know,
Mhm.
and they tend to be more like local underground shows. But I've shot a couple like bigger concerts, I guess you could say. But I prefer the smaller shows. I think it's a good time. Um, I think you can see like all my work on Instagram primarily, that like the majority of it is like music stuff. So that would definitely be my favorite subject. But I clearly I do a lot, and I think that I like doing like weddings. Weddings are a fun time. I think shooting those is very like, it's like sentimental and stuff. So they become important photos, and they're very beautiful photos. And I like doing astrophotography, which is that's more of like a hobby thing, right? So you know I don't do that for anyone really, except for myself, because that experience of just like traveling out to like remote areas that are absolutely pitch black, dark. Sometimes I'm alone, sometimes I bring a friend or something. But that whole experience becomes very much, like it's kind of a nice escape. You get to see nature, you get to see the stars, get to breathe a little bit, enjoy the silence, and and then not only that, you get some cool pictures out of it. So that's definitely one of my favorite subjects as well, is finding like the Milky Way or meteor showers or whatever, or like the Northern Lights, which kind of recently popped up a bunch this past year, and
Yeah.
it's a fun time.
No,
Nice.
they're awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely it's cool where like depending on what subject you are shooting, you get like a different, I don't know, feeling. Like when I haven't shot wedding, but I've DJ'd weddings before.
Yeah,
And
cool.
like doing weddings is like so hectic. Like I don't know, like you're like kind of on edge a little bit the whole time, but it's just like you're hoping everything goes the way you want it to go, you know what I mean? Or like,
Right.
most weddings something pops up where something usually goes wrong and like you have to adapt to it and stuff like that. And it's like with
Oh
like
yeah.
the nature photography, it's like kind of the opposite, like you don't really
Mhm.
have you're doing it at your own pace. If you miss something, you miss something, but like you're doing it at
Yeah,
your own pace. Like so it's kind of cool to have like,
yeah,
different
less
subjects that
pressure.
like
Yeah.
that work your brain a little bit.
Mhm.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, so locally, what are some of your favorite New England bands right now? Either that you've seen or haven't seen, or that
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's so many. Like, really, I love every band. If you're in a
Yeah,
band, I love
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
But, I'd have to obviously, I think, shout out the people who are close to home, like Wisdom and War, and that's not just biased. I like genuinely like their music and stuff. Um, Hard Target, the dudes in Hard Target are very cool. We've kind of created a nice bond, I guess, over the years. It's been a while since we played a show together, but the times we did were definitely some of the best memories. And I think like Micah from Hard Target he has a couple bands that are side projects, I guess, but Life's End is pretty good. Like, and so is his new band False Grip.
False Grip.
nice.
Yeah, I really do like False Grip. Who else? I don't know if does Maine count as New England? Are they part of New England?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Maine is, right? Okay, so Gum Scab.
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if it's too late to pull up another video, but we went on tour with them and I took some clips from our tour. We did a
yeah,
couple together and like it's honestly a good time. But yeah, the Gum Scab dudes are awesome. Um and we definitely have like kind of like a brotherhood now, which is cool. And
yeah.
honestly, shout out Ethan because he always makes fun of me for smoking inside.
That's funny. Yeah,
Yeah, the Gum Scab dudes are phenomenal. I love
yeah,
them, and they
yeah.
make
They're
amazing
awesome.
music. Yeah,
They're super close to me. So I live in Maine. So
yeah.
yeah, they're super close to where I live.
Mhm.
Like within an hour, and
Nice.
we've played many shows with them. They're awesome, awesome, awesome guys. Ethan's great.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, they're always a fun time.
yeah, it is a fun time.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah. What next question? I guess.
Yeah, number
Um,
5. What is your favorite show that you've ever played? Even like locally, like just the feeling, like what made an impression on you?
So I don't know. I feel it's hard to think of right off the bat. We've had a lot of great ones. I guess I'd say when we did our record release for our most recent EP, No Control. We had a record release show last year, actually in November. Yeah, wow, it's a whole year ago. Uh, and I think that there was a lot of love that night because we played at Ralph's, which is kind of like one of Worcester's best venues for local bands and even bigger bands too. It's honestly a sick venue. So we had it at Ralph's, and a lot of the bands on it were just like good friends of ours. So the energy was super sick. And yeah, a lot of people came out and just like really like kind of, what do you call it, like christened that EP, you know,
Yeah,
whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It just made us feel really good, and like everyone, all the energy was awesome. And yeah, that would definitely probably be my favorite show so
that's
far.
awesome. Yeah, it's always good when you're releasing new stuff to get like that like instant feedback, you know? Like it's
Yeah,
like um because you put in a lot of time and effort and energy and money and you know what I mean?
yeah,
Sleepless nights sometimes, like, so it's just
yeah.
those things where you like definitely have to put in a lot of effort. So it's cool to get that like, you know, you have that first show when you play, you know, that whole thing either front to back or whatever. And like we felt the same way when we released ours. Like it was a really good feeling to get like
Yeah,
feedback from that. It's like cool. It's like I'm glad that people like kind of what we're doing and
legit.
yeah.
Makes it all worth it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. For sure. For sure. All right. What does clock out have going on and just you have going on in general, like in the upcoming you know, months?
So we recently just released a cover of Blitzkrieg Bop by the
Nice.
Ramones, and that was kind of fun. I think it was a fun song to make. It came out awesome, and that's like the most recent thing we've done. We played it October 25th in Plymouth, and it was, you know, more kind of like, I feel like it was in the spirit of like Halloween or like the month of October. So we played that cover. I dressed up kind of like Johnny Ramone, I guess. I put on a leather jacket and some shades,
Nice.
which you see in that
Oh,
picture, I think that you guys used. So, you know, that was fun. As far as like things for the future, we have EP in the works. There are 5 tracks that we have ready, almost ready, kind of. We essentially recorded all the instrumentals, and we're just kind of waiting to record the vocals. And you know, once that's done, we're gonna, I don't know, try to hopefully send this out to some labels, because everything we've released has been self-released thus far. So we're gonna send it out and see what happens. But if, you know, if nothing really works out for us, we don't mind self-releasing again. Um, but we'll see what happens. We have some good shows coming up. We have one in like on Long Island, November 22nd. And I think it's good. I like, you know, to travel a little further because we've obviously played tons of shows in Worcester. So it's like, I think good for us to put our energy into like playing different areas. So
yeah, to
Long
get your
Island's
name out there.
cool. And yeah, as far as me, things I have going on, I'm just, you know, still doing the freelance thing. So hoping to find more guitar students, you know, through Guitar Center now. And, you know, even though I am kind of hired by that company, I still consider myself a freelance
Yeah.
artist, because it's not like they give me, you know, a set schedule of hours. I have to still find my students, you know what I mean? So it's really on me to get it. And I think like having the, you know, Guitar Center associated with it might you know, inspire some new students. So hopefully, you know, I get more in. If anyone's listening to this podcast, definitely sign up if you want.
Have Chrissy
Um
as your teacher,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's a fun time for sure. And then you know, just looking to keep gigs going for photo and video. I have like a wedding coming up in 2 weeks, which is great. So the more weddings I can do, the better, because you know, it pays the bills. But I also love
Exactly.
Oh
doing,
yeah.
so you know, I'm just trying to like pace myself in a way that I can continue surviving in this self-sufficient way. If, you know, if I have to get a part-time job or find other means of work, like I will. But ideally, I'm just still trying to strive for that. And things are good. You know, I have like a music video booked, a couple music videos booked. Um, you know, that wedding, hopefully more to come. So that's pretty much it. Just trying to hold it down.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
It takes a lot to like Ashley said, you know, the fact that you're going out and kind of I don't know, doing the freelance thing can really be scary, you know?
Oh yeah, trust me, dude.
Yeah,
I like,
it's
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I like
it
had to
gets
do it
crazy.
not by choice, and it like obviously like too soon, like didn't like realize very quickly it was not going to be an option, and that's where like the school photography came in, and I've gone to learn like so much for it, but that's like yes, what you're doing is incredible because no, I could not.
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, it takes a lot. My a guy that we're actually going to have on the podcast later, my friend Dan,
Mhm.
he was doing freelance artwork, artwork specifically, but he does videography stuff too. And going out on his own was like really scary. It was like I'm going to be home all the time, like I'm going to have this, that, or whatever going on, and it's just like really intense to think about that. But he honestly, I mean, kind of once you get that ball rolling and you put your stuff out there, whatever it is, artwork, video, photos, whatever, if you
Yeah,
put yourself out there and you do good work, I mean, not all the time, but most of the time, like if you can get that going and everything looks good, you can kind of build your own following and get things going, like and hopefully that will be something that you can continue to do. Like you said, if you've been doing it for 2 years, that's pretty impressive. Like
yeah, I honestly appreciate it, because it's definitely been, like, not easy,
yeah.
and there's a lot of risk in it, and that, like, 1 month
Oh
might go well, but the next month might not go so well.
yeah.
So you just gotta keep at it, and that's the thing I've noticed too is that it can't just, like, float on its own, like, it takes constant, effort,
Oh yeah.
whether it's me, like, promoting myself periodically on social media, but I'm also continuing to learn new stuff as I do it, and, like, I don't wanna stagnate, I want my skills to progress still,
Yeah.
so I'm constantly kind of like, it's like a tree, you plant the seed. When it's new, you have to like be very careful with that. But once it's kind of like, all right, it's kind of a tree, you still have to water it every so often,
Oh yeah.
or something. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just like it
Yeah,
takes
no, it's a great
constant
analogy.
grinding. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. That's crazy. Well, it's I mean, props to you for doing that. It takes a lot. Definitely scary thing, but the fact that you're pressing along and doing that, and like I said, your work looks great. I'm sure with you putting in the time and effort that you're going to get where you want to go. It's
Appreciate
definitely possible. Definitely
it.
possible.
Sure.
Um, cool. Yeah. So we talked about shows. We talked about all that. I did find a couple of shows that are going to be going on. Um, there's one in Portland. I think it's this Sunday. Um, it's Infernal Diatribe,
Oh yeah.
Silenus, Corrective Measure, and Zinc. They're playing at the what is it? The I don't even know what it's called. Apophadian Theater in Portland. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't even know the name of the venue, but I've seen it before. But they've
Yeah.
got a show. I guess it's on. Let's see. No, yeah, November 10th. It's on Sunday,
Nice.
and then I guess there's a show. Is it next weekend? Is it Oh yeah, so there's a show at Gino's in Portland too. It's like Pathogenic, Epicenter, Glass Prison.
Hmm.
Um, who else? A couple other bands playing, which I can't read their names because that's fun. And then also at Gino's later on in that week, Cruel Hand has a
Oh.
show. It's Cruel Hand, Search Warrant, Secret Work.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and what is it? High Command.
Oh yeah. I saw that one.
Yeah, that's like 11/16, so that's gonna be a pretty cool show at Gino's.
That is gonna
So
be a good one.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, it
still
looks
yet
like
to
there's a
see
couple of
Secret
good
Work.
shows. Granted,
Yeah.
they're all in up in the Portland area, but that's all I could find really quickly.
A good
So
show.
yeah, there should be some good shows. But
Mhm.
cool, awesome. Well, I guess that's the end of that. That's all the questions we had, all the stuff we wanted to talk about at this point in time. So yeah, really appreciate you coming on the podcast. Awesome to see your work. Awesome to see some more video stuff on here. I know we're going to be talking with a couple more photographers and videographers in the upcoming next episodes, which will be nice. Little change of pace, but cool to have a band member and you know, a videographer and photographer on at the same time. So
Yeah.
that's been super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of fun talking to you guys, and I'm glad there's a platform to kind of keep it recorded and archived. Like, I think I'll appreciate looking back on this when I'm older, and hopefully, yeah, it's just good memories of the time. So thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we're trying to do. Bring a little bit of everything together with especially with the scene, because I just feel like Ashley and I have talked about this. There's so many photographers and videographers and bands and just
I
like
know it's a
and
lot.
there's just so much out here right now, and it's just a really cool time to see that. And I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot of documentation, which is nice, but I don't know. We just wanted to create something. I mean, everyone's doing podcasts, but we wanted to create something to kind of talk about not just the music, but also the video stuff, the
Yep.
photo stuff, you know, and just kind of see where everyone, you know, why they decided to come out now and start, you know, shooting photos. Or there's just so many, and it's just really
Yeah.
cool to kind of see everyone's work and where they're going with it. And I don't know, it's just a really cool time to be a part
Yeah,
of
it is.
this scene, you know.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're
Yeah.
talking to a lot of people that are definitely passionate about the scene. And that's like one of the true things I know about you is how passionate you are to Central Mass hardcore and
Yeah.
everything surrounding that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing that we wanted to do, was just get the people who are really, you know, helping push things forward, or have been a part of it the whole time, you know. But you know, just because everything's really being pushed forward right now, it's just, you know, get those people that are, you know, important and you know, really helping push the scene and make it a more, you know, a fun and positive place to be in. And I feel like that's definitely happening right now. So
100%.
yeah.
Absolutely, guys.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I guess that's going to be the end of this episode, episode 6. We are going to have episode 7 next week. We're actually going to be shooting the episode a little bit earlier than normal, but it will be out. Episode 7 will be out the same on the next weekend. But yeah, we've got a lot of fun stuff going on. Really appreciate you coming on, and we'll catch you all on the next episode. So thanks again, guys. And hope everyone has a great night.
Hell
Have a
yeah.
good night. Thank you.
See ya.